I review stuff they don't even make anymore. Okay, we're in Palm Springs, and today I'm going to use nothing but two little pocket cameras. A Panasonic Lumix ZS80, it's got a 1/2.3-inch sensor, tiny little sensor the size for a camcorder, and a 1-inch sensor. This is a ZS200. This one is $450, this one is $800. They both have viewfinders, which I really like, and this one has a flip-up screen, which is great for vlogging. This one does not have a flip-up screen, so they each have pluses and minuses. This is a small sensor, but a flip-up screen. This is a 1-inch sensor, but no flip-up screen. So let's start using them today and see what the differences are of these little pocket cameras and if they're any good. All right, let's start with the ZS80, the one with the small camcorder / cell phone size sensor. If you have decent light, you can get decent pictures. And in low light, it still looks good, but you can't zoom in because then it just doesn't hold up. It's too grainy. But the colors still look good. If you're just using it for social media, it's more than good enough. It's really good at close-ups. That's where this thing shines. Really, really good for small objects, close-up stuff. Really nice. So let's go back out with a little bit more sunlight. Looks great. Again, this is good for social media. Just don't zoom in on it. That's the only thing. But for just posting something, I think these shots look great. I don't think a lot of people on social media zoom in and pixel peep when they just want to show, here I am doing this. It's just slice of life. And for that, this camera is more than good enough. The colors are really good. I really like the colors on this thing. And for a tiny little sensor that it is, it's doing the best that it can. It does pretty good, I think. Okay, now look at this. She's standing in the bushes. She's totally in shade. This is existing low lighting outdoors. And the camera's doing the best that it can to expose for her face. It's okay. Now watch this. I'm going to hand hold a little video light on her to give her some more light. And the f-stop's going to go higher up. Watch this. Look at that. Look at the difference between that and that. Look at the skin tones. It's like a whole nother camera. It's sharp. You can zoom in on it. The colors are perfect. The skin tones are perfect. Higher resolution. Everything is just so much better because you have more light. Look at the difference. I'm using my little well-making light. It's great for hand holding if you're just walking around doing stuff like this, quick little shots. And this looks pretty good. Look at the difference this lighting can make. All right, let's expose now for bright midday sun and put a reflector on her face. Because of the higher f-stop, it looks cleaner and sharper. Again, it's a small sensor. Now this is the wide angle setting, and this is the telephoto setting. Telephoto on this thing is awesome. Look at the difference between the wide angle and the telephoto. And this is a little pocket camera. It's pretty cool. Now this is an optical actual telephoto. Nice pictures. All right, that was the ZS80. Now let's switch over to the ZS200 with the larger 1-inch sensor. Looks nice and clean, and the first thing you notice is you can zoom in closer and it won't fall apart because you have a 1-inch sensor. So here's the difference side by side between the ZS80 and the ZS200. You can definitely see the difference, the amount of information in the picture. It's still not the same amount of information as a full frame camera, but for social media, I think this is fine. I think the smaller sensor of ZS80 has better color, but you can always bump that up on the 200. Nice clean image. Nice, nice, nice. Nice clean image. Really, really clean image. All right, here we are back in the shaded woods. Color is very similar when it's just on automatic, but when I pull out my little handheld 80-watt light, look at that. Same thing again. Having good lighting is the key with any camera to getting a better picture. You do have more clarity and detail with the 200. This is just sunlight, and this is with a flash. So the flash does help sometimes to fill it in. So here we are in bright sunlight, middle of the day. Definitely sharper, more information, cleaner picture. Less noise, so you can crop in a little bit if you want. I love 1-inch cameras. That's like the magic sweet spot. So here's the wide angle, and here's the telephoto. Wow, look at that. Nice. So that's the 1-inch ZS200. All right, I'm in the hotel room. This is the ZS80, and this is what I got the ZS80 for, to do vlogging. As long as you have good lighting, it should be doing pretty good. I mean, it's got the crosshairs on my eyes. Everything's autofocus. Everything's good. I should be looking pretty good. And if all you do is vlogging, then this should be a good camera. I mean, it's basically a camcorder stuffed into a pocket camera body, and it's very pocketable. And if this is all you do, then, you know, it doesn't have a mic jack. I always record my audio separately anyway because it's better quality. But if this is all you do, and this is all, then this should be good enough for you. This is the ZS80. All right, let's switch over to the 200. All right, and this is the ZS200, the 1-inch camera, but I cannot see myself, so that's the downside of this. I actually had to redo this shot 3 times, reposition it, and run in front of the camera and sit down. This is not really made for vlogging unless you're behind the camera and somebody else is in front of the camera. But for shooting yourself, this is not the camera for that. But it is a 1-inch sensor, so I know it looks better and all that, but no flip-up screen, so not made for vlogging. Let's switch over to the RX100, which does have a flip-up screen and a 1-inch sensor. And this is the 1-inch Sony camera that has a flip-up screen and a viewfinder. It's, of course, $1,200, but this is the one I've been using for the last 5 years. My favorite pocket camera, the Sony RX100 Mark VII. Let's see how this compares. Now, if you want to use a Panasonic flip-up screen vlogging camera that's 1-inch sensor, I would say the LX10. I don't have it with me today, but this is what it looks like when you use the LX10. It's super sharp, great lens on there. It does not have a viewfinder, but it has a really nice look. You can get a pretty blurry background with it. It has a nice look to it, and it's half the price of the Sony. That's the one I would go to if you're vlogging and you want the best of the Panasonics. So here's some more video shots from a larger sensor 200. The colors are a little dull, but it's definitely sharp. That's one of the strong points of this camera. Is very sharp. The colors are a little on the cyan side, which is kind of between blue and green, but of course that can all be adjusted, as right here. The colors look pretty good when you adjust them, so you can get some good footage from this camera. But really, I think the main reason this camera exists is the telephoto. It has a really great telephoto. You can zoom really far, and when you're zoomed all the way, it gives you kind of the nice cinematic look. So you can definitely get some nice stuff with this. Now the ZS80, on the other hand, with a smaller sensor, has better colors. Look at the colors on this thing. Perfect skin tones. I love the look of this. I love the colors. It's just the resolution's kind of low because it's a small sensor. And that's because the ZS80 is made for video, not pictures. And it's got a really good telephoto, so it's basically a camcorder put into a pocket camera body. And when you put it side by side with the corrected 200 footage, it still looks better than the 200, even though the 200's been corrected. So the ZS80 is really made for video, not pictures. The reason I like the ZS80 is because it has a flip-up screen, so I can do vlogging. The colors are good. I like the colors a little bit better than this one. There's no microphone jack, no head jack. This one doesn't either. They have the same viewfinder. It's a really tiny viewfinder, but it's the same one. I find when it's really, really hot and it's 120 degrees, I'm sweating and I'm pouring sweat. And I look through these little tiny viewfinders are kind of useless for when you're really sweating. You got goo in your eye. You need a big, giant viewfinder for that. I mean, I like viewfinders, but unless it has a hot shoe, I usually don't use the viewfinder, even though I like viewfinders. I think this has the same sensor as the VX981 camcorder. So this is like a mini camcorder that you can put in your pocket. That's good with a flip-up screen, but I still like using the VX981 camcorder a lot more than this. It's just easier to use, more fun to use. This is very limited. It's made for idiots. Like, you just turn it on, but you can't do a lot of manual stuff with it. I mean, if you're really, really futz with it, you can, but it's really difficult to find out how to do anything manually on this. This is made for more automatic use. This one, the ZS200, is easier to do with a lot of manual stuff. This is a lot sharper. Just better all over as a camera to use, and it's a lot more fun to use, more intuitive, more manual controls. It just doesn't have a flip-up screen, but it's a 1-inch sensor, which is really good. The ZS80 is a 30 times optical zoom. That's 24 to 720. This has a 15 times optical zoom, 24 to 360, but they zoom almost exactly the same. Why? Because this is a tiny sensor, and the ZS200 is a 1-inch sensor. So they both zoom really, 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 really far. Really, really great zooms on these things. So if you want to zoom, this is great. They both have really good zooms. So that's my thing for today for pocket cameras in Palm Springs. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay cool.